What is going on, everyone? This is Wednesday night. We are the Cinefanatics. My name's Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And this is the Tagline, the show where the tagline is the... Was it the show where the tagline is the tagline? Or
it's the show where the tagline is made up title. And the taglines don't matter.
The points don't matter. The people aren't real. Who cares? Anyways, how is everyone doing this week? Yes, it's been a whole nother week since the last time that we did this.
That's how weeks work.
It's been a long week. It definitely has been a very long week.
It's been an interesting one.
Hello, everyone in the chat. Glad to see all of y'all's faces here, all of your names, the ones that we can say and can't say. Or thank you for all of y'all being
I have a really hard time pronouncing that, Robert Ad. I don't know what that is.
I've had a hard time pronouncing that before too. Like I've struggled with it my whole life. Like luckily I can do it on camera, but yeah. Anyways. Let's get some stuff out of the way. You know the YouTube things. We got at streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. Y'all have any questions, comments, issues, complaints? That is the place to send it. Again, all donations, I believe tonight will be the last night that we do this, but any donations sent into streamlabs.com/cinefanatics is going to go to the New England Hemophilia Association in honor of our friend Garth McMurray. Garth passed away last week, and we honor him by sending any kind of donations that we can to the cause that he very much fought for. His his whole life. Yeah. So yes, there are links down below in the description. If you want to donate just directly to the New England Hemophilia Association, there's a link down there for that. Or if you just want to send it into our Streamlabs, again, all those donations will get sent over to them later on. So that is available for your donating pleasure. Patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you would like to help us out, if you feel like we are worthy of your support and you have the means, hop on the tier that's good for you. There's only two tiers. There's a $1 and a $5. So should be easy. The $5 tier is where like all the good stuff's at. The $1 tier, you get access to the Discord. The $5 though, you get to participate in the once a month movie watch-alongs and the trivia hangout. Speaking of which, tonight after the tagline, we will be doing our movie trivia hangout. That is going to be in the voice chat on our Discord. So if you like movie trivia, you want to come hang out and you're at that $5 tier, come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that should be roughly around like 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern. So
I need to be dethroned. I feel like I've been winning a few of these lately. I feel like I've gotten some back-to-back wins these last few months. And I need one of y'all out there to put me in my place, or try to. So you're going to need to throw down that $5 if you're not already part of the Patreon and come join us tonight right after the tagline. Well, maybe not.
You know what? I got an idea. Challenge accepted. I will play against you tonight. You want to lose? You want to be dethroned? All right, we'll do it. Y'all want to take us on? Y'all want to challenge us? Come join. Both of us will be playing tonight, so come join. It's going to be a lot of fun.
He ran right over my draw to bring people in by filling in the void that I was hoping one of you guys would join and fill.
Well, now they can sit here and try to take on both of us. So. Anyways, I've always been curious. Y'all ever pitch any other names for the show? How did you stick with tagline? I like that question. So I would say like we're not necessarily, or at least I feel like Chris is a little more creative than I am in certain cases. But I feel like I can't remember like which one of us came up with the tagline. But I feel like right after we came up with the tagline, we then came up with the sentence. The tagline, the show where the title is the tagline.
Where the tagline is the title.
Yeah. Because that just works beautifully. It's a tagline and it's a title and it's a correct statement all in one. So I love it.
It's got many layers like an ogre or an onion.
Or a parfait.
Or a parfait.
Anyway, so poor Chris looks like unamused Vision. Oh, you mean like we haven't seen unamused Vision in a while. So thank you, Lego. Anyways, we got a lot to talk about tonight. First thing up, as far as upcoming shows, I believe tomorrow my plan is to go see Equalizer 3 and then I'll probably do a review for it at some point. Because, you know, reviews they're just flying real quick and fast on this channel. We'll talk about Gran Turismo here in a minute. I know we didn't actually put out an official review for it. We're going to do it here in a minute. So
there's multiple reasons.
Yeah. So yes, I will probably do a Equalizer 3 review. I'll do an out of theater reaction on the YouTube shorts, and then I'll do a full review. And I'm thinking I'll probably do a ranking of the 3 Equalizer movies probably sometime this weekend. What was it? Yesterday was Judgment Day. August 29th, 1997 is officially Judgment Day according to the original and Terminator 2 Terminator movies. So in honor of that, I did a ranking of all 6 Terminator movies, and that seems to be a video that a lot of people like watching. So if you haven't seen it, go check that out later on. But yeah. Anyways,
watch our YouTube shorts if you want to live.
Yeah, I was like, come with me if you want to rank.
We're not like threatening you or anything. If you don't watch our YouTube shorts, you're probably still going to stay alive. So I'm just, just saying.
Yeah. Anyways.
Can't hurt though.
Or you may have a taco. Who knows? What? I'm just saying, just list of possibilities of what could happen out there. Also coming up at the end of September is the Marquee. September is my birthday month. So for my birthday month, we're going to tier rank movies that I want to tier rank. And we are finally getting around to the one that was probably the most requested. Like a lot of people have asked for us to rank these, and we're finally going to get to it. And I'm so happy because I love musicals. So we will be tier ranking, I think it's like anywhere from 12 to 15 musicals. So if you are a part of the Patreon, even at the $1 tier on our Discord, you can see the list of movies that we will be tier ranking. So if you want to go watch those, catch up, get your opinion in on them, that is available for you. Lego is asking, horror musicals? No, because there's only like 3 of those that I know of. Little Shop, Sweeney Todd, and that was Anna and the Apocalypse. And Anna and the Apocalypse is really good.
But 3 of those that he knows of that we will be including in any list at any given point.
Yeah. Also, I guess you could also throw Rocky Horror Picture Show as a horror musical-ish. So, anyways, that is coming up on September 29th. September is going to be a busy month for us. He is taking a trip to LA to go see a live performance of La La Land. I believe actually being conducted or orchestrated by Justin Hurwitz live
performance. Yeah, the movie, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are going to be there performing La La Land live on stage. No, it's going to be a screening of the movie, but the actual music of the movie is going to be performed live by the orchestra and the composer, Justin Hurwitz.
Yeah.
I get his name and Josh Horowitz mixed up all the time, and I have to remember which one is the composer and which one is the journalist.
Yeah. So that sounds like that's going to be phenomenal. And then towards the end of the month, I'm going to Fantastic Fest here in Austin, Texas. So watching a ton of like indie movies, some special premieres. Earlier today, I did the reaction for the new Five Nights at Freddy's trailer, and I'm really hoping that Five Nights at Freddy's movie is going to get a secret surprise premiere at Fantastic Fest. Very likely that is going to happen, so we'll see. Anyways, this is my my thing. Also, I just had a hard time getting into it. He loves it, but
favorite movie.
He's La La over La La Land, I guess. Works. No? That's right, Cuban B. Anyways,
yes,
so
Cuban B.
The Marquee Musicals is going to be at the end of September 29th, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, so make note of that on your calendars. What movies have we watched over the past week? I'm glad you asked. We both saw one that we were going to do a review for. It's just stuff happened, like a lot of different stuff. So we just haven't been able to get to it. Real quick, I guess for like a small, like non-spoiler review of it, I liked it. I actually think it was a fun movie. And it's one of those, like, I feel like I've said this before. I'm not much into sports, but I get really into the sport when watching the movie. So, like, while watching Rocky, I'm super into boxing. I absolutely love boxing. It's my favorite sport of all time. When I'm watching Rocky or Creed or this movie, I absolutely love race car driving. I'm the biggest fan of race car driving ever while watching this movie.
When I'm watching Remember the Titans, I am super into football.
Is that what they're playing in that movie? I couldn't remember.
Nice. Yeah, this movie is actually really, really solid. I love a good true to life story, a good real life tale of underdogness and inspiration, and they did a pretty good job with it. Also, David Harbour, heart of the movie.
Yeah.
It's a high recommend. It's a high recommend for sure.
Yeah, I love like some of the stuff that they did with like the graphics and like some of the editing was really well done. How they would incorporate shots of him like focusing on driving, but then like we would see in his mind he's outside of his race car back at home in his gaming chair at his TV with like the parts of the car like zooming in and out and forming the car around
like
him.
You saw in the trailer. They did it multiple times throughout the movie.
Yeah, that was a really nice touch. Neil Blomkamp, he does very well at making movies. He may not have made like the best movies in a lot of people's opinions, but his movies are very well done. District 9 was really good. I actually really liked Chappie also, even though it was just kind of weird and I thought it was fun.
Chappie was kind of out there for me. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm okay if I never see Chappie again, but you know.
I still need to see what's the other one, Elysium,
yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch Elysium. And there was one other that he did that was like a horror movie recently, and I can't remember what it's called, but I might have to check that out because again, like I've watched 2 of his movies and I've enjoyed them both. So, or
District
now
10.
3. Yeah, District 10. He is working on. He just doesn't know when that's going to come out. I hate the fact that he had a really good plan for an Alien movie, and it looks like we will never see his take on the Alien movies.
Do you know what would be interesting, though, is if he ever gets around to making District 12.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the Hunger Games hand symbol.
Or is that just another, like, Spock hand symbol besides the Vulcan?
I think it's the 3. It's been a long time since I've seen Hunger Games, and hey, you know what? We got one of those movies coming out again here pretty soon.
Yes. Lego's asking, is Chappie the movie with Diane Ward? Yes, it is. With Ninja and what's her face?
Not Ninja the streamer.
No. Oh, I can't remember her other name, but yeah, or her name, but Chappie was saying it like all the time. Yeah. So yeah, I liked Gran Turismo. I definitely recommend it. It just doesn't look like, I don't know what the box office actually is for this weekend, so I'm not sure how high it actually got, but I can see it probably didn't do as well as it should have. So anyways,
here in just a second.
The only other movie, did you see any other movies for the first time over the past week?
No.
Yeah. The only ones I remember watching, I think there's one I watched the other night and I can't remember what it was, but I did watch Earth Girls Are Easy for the first time. That was a movie.
It was easy.
Huh?
It was easy.
Yeah. It was a very, very weird comedy, but it was also like at the very beginning of Yolandi. That's it. Yolandi Visser. But it was also like the beginning of like Damon Wayans and Jim Carrey's careers. So yeah, it was kind of weird seeing Jim Carrey in a role before like Ace Ventura really made him. But I still had fun with it. So, what was it? That was also Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis, which I believe they actually met and got married while filming Earth Girls Are Easy. So it's like their third movie together, I believe, after The Fly, and I can't remember the third one. But yeah, I like the two of them together. And then I watched Dolls, which is another like horror movie that was very much like in the same vein as Puppet Master. People go stay at this house and they're terrorized by living toys. In fact, it was made by Full Moon or Charles Band, who ended up doing Puppet Master anyways, which is weird because he just ended up copying his own movie, basically. So that was strange. Did you add 1962, The Music Man, to your musicals lineup? I don't believe we have The Music Man on there.
It's not on this list. We do have another running list right now that we're keeping that we're gonna do as a musicals part 2 another time when it makes sense to do a musical marquee again. Say like if a musical about witches ever comes out, we might do something around then. Who knows? But that movie will probably be on that list. It's not on the list for this next month.
Yeah. We're all, like, both of us really like musicals, so we're always going to be happy to talk about more and more musicals anyway. So that would be a good one. Like eventually we'll probably also do like Disney musicals because they're not a part of this. We may do like some more like family friendly musicals like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, those kinds of musicals as well. So yeah, it's going to be a long list of musicals to get through eventually at some point. Anyways, I think it is time to get into some movie news. Woo!
Ladies and gentlemen,
good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
back to you.
All right, guys.
Speaking of Jim Carrey.
We got a top 10 in the box office to get through. Let me see if I can scroll up here. Can y'all guess what number 1 in the box office is this week?
Barbie. No. Nice.
If we were bringing back Vision, I had to bring back Thor also.
Oh, absolutely. So Blue Beetle knocked Barbie out the weekend before. So I would have to assume Gran Turismo took number 1.
Gran Turismo is in fact
in the top 10.
It is in the top 10. It's number 1. It's number 1. Gran Turismo is number 1. It pulled out a nice solid $17,410,552, taking that number 1 spot for this weekend. Now, here's the real question. Can we guess what number 2 is? Because you said Blue Beetle took out Barbie, right?
I'm pretty sure Barbie probably retook over Blue Beetle.
Oh, yeah, it did. Barbie is not going anywhere anytime soon. Barbie is still at the number 2 spot as it was last week. It is hanging out there and it's not budging. It made about $15 million itself, while Blue Beetle is coming in that 3rd spot at $12 million. Just that kind of thought, Oppenheimer is going to start kind of moving its way down the list now. I think it's going to hang out in the top 10 for quite a long time, but it is going to be slowly making its way down the list now. So Oppenheimer at number 3. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is at number... Excuse me, I said Oppenheimer 3. Oppenheimer was at 3 last week. Oppenheimer's at 4 this week. At 5, all these numbers are right next to each other. At 5 is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. At number 6 is Strays, that comedy that I believe opened last week with the talking dogs. Number 7 is Meg 2 The Trench. And then number 8 and 9, we have 2 new releases, Retribution and The Hill.
Okay.
What is... Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Retribution is the new Liam Neeson movie that looks the same as all the other Liam Neeson movies. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
I have a very particular set of skills.
Basically.
And I mind my surroundings.
A bank executive receives a bomb threat while driving his children to school that his car will explode if they stop and get out. That sounds interesting. Sounds like Speed meets a Liam Neeson movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, that opens at number 8. The Hill, that is... Oh, okay. I've seen the poster for that. That's Dennis Quaid.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Major League Baseball. True story, looks like.
Wasn't he like in another... Like, was it The Rookie?
The Rookie, I think, yeah.
Was like a baseball movie that he was in that was like kind of based off of a true story as well, or something like that.
Yeah. Lego. He has a skill. He uses that skill, that singular skill, and those editors got to cut around everything else.
Yeah. I feel like that's all he ever does is like after Taken has taken off, like all of his movies are variations of that. He's a John Wick type of person, and they need to make like a movie of just all of these guys all fighting each other in a melee. Like
he's the old guy action star now. I don't know why he's not in an Expendables movie.
Well, what was his name? Brian Mills in the Taken movies?
Yeah.
So I want to see a movie with like Brian Mills versus John Wick versus what was it? Nobody with what's his face from Better Call Saul. Bob Odenkirk. And then just any other movies that were like that, where just someone just happened to have like the particular set of skills and they are just a badass. Equalizer, for example, same kind of thing. They're all people who just want to lay low and just leave them alone. But if you mess with them, they're going to rip your spine apart. And that's not hyperbole. They will yank it out like a predator. So, like, I want to see all of those. I think that would be a fun movie series.
Yeah. Also, number 10 is going to be Talk to Me. I got a weird look on my face because I'm trying to bring up, because Jeremy said in the chat, Gran Turismo costs a ton, so it needs to make up internationally. I clicked on Gran Turismo to see what its worldwide is, and then I clicked on it to see what its budget was. And the budget's actually, it looks like it's 60 million is what I'm saying.
60 million?
Yeah. It's actually not that big. The budget's not that high at all.
Interesting. I'm going to guess that probably a lot of it there probably wasn't a lot that they actually had to spend on, because I'm willing to bet like the race car aspects of it, a lot of those were probably like handed to them to help, like instead of them having to pay to use like the 24-hour Le Mans track, they were allowed to just shoot there to help promote car racing, which is basically what that movie's doing. So they may have had like free reign of using that track. They just had to pay for like some of the overhead using the electricity and stuff while they were out there. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty sure they were given that stuff in production.
Yeah, the fact that I'm saying 60 million isn't that much is ridiculous. Well, I mean, yeah, looking at that movie, I would have assumed it would have been in the 100 to 150 million range. But we're just so used to like these overblown summer movies now that all cost hundreds of millions of dollars, that when I see a 60 million, I'm like, whoa. Because I'm looking at the marketing of that's probably also nearing close to about the same amount. Marketing wise is probably, somewhere in the 45 to 60 million range for that movie, I'm betting. Which means total cost for that movie, total budget, is kind of inching up to the 150 million range.
Mm-hmm.
And so far worldwide, it has taken in almost 57 million. So if we're talking about like trying to make its full budget back, including marketing, again, I pull out the number 150 million. It probably could be a lot lower. It probably could be like 110. It could even be 100 million total with marketing. It very well, by the end of its run, might hit its total budget back. It might just make its money back.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like that's actually, I think that would be kind of a win in my book for this movie. It's a good movie. It's not like a franchise film, so it's definitely a one-off of sorts.
Yeah, it's not even actually a movie based off the video game. It's just a movie that incorporates the video game.
Yeah,
kind of like Tetris did earlier this year, or like BlackBerry or Air or something. It just incorporates like that product. Really, it's not of that product.
Yeah.
I like this. You don't need that much money to make something great. Perfect example of that I will always go to now is Terrifier 2. Low budget horror movie that had kind of like an indie release, but man, that movie made some money, because every like horror enthusiast out there, and then on top of that, you probably also had like all the teenagers and frat bros and everyone like challenging, like, hey, you need to go see this movie. Bet you can't watch this movie without puking type of thing. and it just made so much money, and I can't wait for Terrifier 3.
Yeah, I think another good example of that also is, for the most part, Christopher Nolan usually keeps his budgets pretty low. There's some slight exceptions to that rule, being the Batman movies, of course. I think Tenet was one of his higher ones. I think Interstellar is probably one of his higher ones. And Inception, I think, was a little bit higher. But I mean, Oppenheimer, example. Oppenheimer, 100 million total budget. Look at the amount of stars that are in that movie. How many people are in that movie taking significant roles? That's actually incredibly inexpensive for the kind of movie that Oppenheimer was. So, yeah. I think Nolan is actually pretty decent at creating a movie at a reasonable price point.
Do you have any way of seeing exactly, like, out of the weekend box office, are you able to narrow it down to just the tickets sold on Sunday?
I can see for Gran Turismo.
No, for movies in general.
I could probably pull up a daily.
So while you're looking at that, I'll explain why. So Sunday was that National Cinema Day where everyone could go to the theater at $4 a ticket. So that very likely probably brought a lot of people who just don't normally naturally go to the movie theater out to the movie theater. And I know I saw like a lot of people on Twitter like, hey, what are you going to go see for National Cinema Day? And like real like diehard moviegoers, everyone's like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere near a movie theater on that day. That's going to be full of crazy people who don't know how to act or behave properly in a movie theater.
Fair. So what you wanted to see what the top 10 was for that Sunday?
Yeah, what were like the top movies just on that Sunday?
So number 1 is Barbie, number 2 is Blue Beetle, number 3 Gran Turismo, number 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 5 is Oppenheimer, 6 Strays, 7 Meg 2, 8 Retribution, 9 Haunted Mansion for some reason, and 10 Mission Impossible.
Because they could pay $4 for it, that's why.
That's probably why, yeah. And then 10 is Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look up this Nefarious movie.
Nefarious. Sorry.
I know, that's what I was thinking too. Is that Notorious? Like, I don't know what this movie is. I mean, interesting cast, I guess. The lead star is Sean Patrick Flannery, so.
Ooh, that's a win.
I mean, Sean Patrick Flannery's not in any, like, he's not necessarily a bad actor. He was in those Boondock Saints movies, and those, at least the first one, I can't remember the second one off the top of my head, but the first Boondock Saints is so good.
Yeah.
You did that Notorious thing, and my first thought was Notorious B.I.G.'s Notorious song. Even though I just saw Duran Duran live like a month or two ago. It's weird.
That's a good connection there.
Anyway, so yeah, that was it for the box office.
That's it for the box office. Unless you have another random request that you want me to try to pull up. Hey, well, what's the 6 p.m. showing for specifically the movies located in the northern part of Wyoming? I want to know at these 3 specific theaters, what was the box office for that? Lear, let me see if I can pull that up on Box Office Mojo for you.
So that one theater that's attached to a Tim Hortons in Alberta, Canada, back on Thursday at 3:00 in the afternoon. What was the highest grossing movie?
I was expecting you to be like, I need to know the number 1 film at that theater that's for some reason partnered with a Love's.
Like a truck stop.
Truck stop.
Or for those of y'all here in Texas, a Buc-ee's. Let's be honest, we should have gone Buc-ee's over Love's, but
I figured more people would probably understand Love's across the United States, at least.
William Harold, that's a trick question. No one lives in northern Wyoming.
Bingo!
Just aliens at Devil's Tower.
So
that's great.
So realistically, then the box office, to answer that question, then the box office is $3.
Yeah.
Someone paid $3 to drive out to northern Wyoming, and they played it on their laptop with only limited battery power in the random wilderness of northern Wyoming.
Yeah. All right, so let's moving on to some movie news. This is an interesting piece of news that I've been following just for funsies because I'm really interested in cases like this. We haven't really talked about it on here, I don't believe, or we may have. This has been going on for like a year or two now. But apparently there's been an ultimate decision made. For those of y'all who don't know about what I'm talking about this court case involving that movie Yesterday by Danny Boyle. This is the movie, stars Himesh Patel as a musician. He's got like writer's block. He just can't think of like good music to write anymore. He gets into some weird kind of an accident, and when he wakes up, the world has seemingly forgot who the Beatles are, or the Beatles have just never existed. And then he starts singing like the Beatles songs to his friends and family, and they all think that these are like his original songs, that he's the one who originally wrote them. And he becomes a superstar in this new world because he's basically playing the Beatles songs. And it's an amazing movie. I love this movie.
To my knowledge, it also stars actually several other people. There's quite a few people who are in the movie.
Yeah.
But not Ana de Armas. There was a trailer that was released that made it look like that his character was going to be like in a love relationship, or that she was going to be in a love interest for him in this movie. I don't know why the camera is like out of focus. That's weird. But like they were setting it up for Ana de Armas to be a potential love interest along with, was it Lily Collins? I believe is in this movie. Is it Lily Collins or the one who played Pamela Anderson in that Pam and Tommy biopic? Nope, you're thinking of she was in Baby Driver.
He was in Baby Driver also. Lily James,
yeah.
Lily James.
Come challenge us on movie trivia tonight, guys. Right after this, join our Patreon and come see if you can get to Lily James faster than either one of us could.
Yeah. Anyways, so there was a trailer was released that she was a part of, and then come to find out that actual scene that she was in was cut from the movie. So these two guys rented this movie, apparently only because Ana de Armas is in it. So they just wanted to watch a movie with Ana de Armas, and for some reason they chose Yesterday instead of any other movie that Ana de Armas was in, like Knock Knock or Blonde I don't think was out at that time, but yeah, Knives Out, whatever. You could have picked any other movie, but they picked Yesterday thinking Ana de Armas was in it because she was in the trailer. She wasn't in the movie because they cut her scene from that movie before the movie was released. They turned around and they sued for false advertising. If those of y'all that want more in-depth about some of the legalese involved in this, Matt Pat on Film Theory has a really good video talking about this entire lawsuit and how it might be dumb, and it does sound dumb. In my opinion, it is dumb, but there is some legal backing behind it as far as like the qualifications, like should this actually be a lawsuit? So yeah, I urge anyone, if you want to know more about it, go watch that video. So what has happened is over the couple of years now, they keep getting their case shot down, which sounds like as it should be. They are suing for $5 million. What are they going to use the movie for? Yeah.
Do not ask questions to which you A, either don't want to know the answer to, or B, already know the answer to.
So, yes. Thank you for that mental image now. This court case keeps getting shot down by like different judges or so, and they keep adding amendments to it. So what they're doing is they're trying to represent it like basically with a, but look at this information over here now. Now let's consider this into this case. And then they get it shut down. Well, let's consider this into this case. So this last one that they did that they amended, apparently one of the two guys re-rented the movie again off of Google Play because on Google it listed Ana de Armas as being a part of this movie. And so they rented it again in the hopes that they see Ana de Armas. She still wasn't in the movie. They turned around and added that as an amendment to their case. In which case, the judge on this said, "You're a dumbass. There was nothing on Google to state that this movie would be any different than the movie that you had watched previously, that you rented before. Didn't say anything about it being a director's cut or all edited footage was added back in. There was nothing there. Just Google happened to mess up and put in its cast listing that Ana de Armas was in the movie.
It could have been pulling it from Wikipedia where somebody may have just edited it in there for fun. Or maybe those two guys could have edited it in there on the Wikipedia article, and that's where Google picked it up from, you know?
Yeah. So anyway, so this judge with this final amendment talking about the renting of it off of Google, this judge is like, okay, enough. This is stupid. We're not going to keep adding amendments that actually aren't supporting your argument at all. We're shutting this down. No appeals, no nothing. You're done. Stop bothering us with this. So that's basically what happened, which I think is funny. I try to look at it from both like the human who wants to make sure that my opinion is heard, and then also let's just go off of basic common sense. It is very possible that movies are going to have scenes edited out. Is there a director's cut of Infinity War where we see that shot from the trailer with everyone running, including the Hulk? No. Was that made just for the movie to kind of like hide the fact that he's not the Hulk in that movie, except for the very beginning? Yes, that trailer was cut that way. Is that actually false advertising? I don't believe so. I believe that they can't show everything in they can't show everything in the trailer, or the trailers need to hide some information. The internet is a full of clever people nowadays that would watch a trailer and go, how come we don't see the Hulk anywhere? What's going on with the Hulk? And then theories, and Mephisto's probably a part of it somewhere and something like that. No, Mephisto's that was it the Jedi Hunter guy in Ahsoka?
Yeah, Merrick.
Yeah, that's Mephisto. You heard it here first, and well, probably second. I'm pretty sure New Rockstar's already covered that. But yeah, those are going to happen. That is a part of how a movie is made, and you, as the end user, the consumer, should understand that. You should just be okay that these movie trailers are going to show something that's probably going to be edited out or to circumvent your idea of what's going to happen in the movie. Now, the only issue I have with that is if it's wildly different. For example, that movie, was it Shrinking?
Oh, yeah.
Looked like it was going to be a funny comedy where Matt Damon and his wife,
Kristen
Wiig, were going to go. I had her face. What's the name?
Join our Patreon trivia tonight if you
trivia.
think you can pull Kristen Wiig faster than either one of us could.
So it looked like a funny comedy where they undergo the shrinking process, but she does it, and it's a hilarity ensues. And no, that's not what that movie's about at all. That is like the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then the rest of this movie is this whole end of the war, the apocalypse is coming, environmental message, partially religious. Just it's not what the trailer was showing at all. Any of the trailers. So that one I'd be like, that one's a little weird.
So Lego brings up an interesting thing. No other product is allowed to do that. Why should films? There's a couple of reasons why. One, if I'm going and buying, let's say I go buy a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser because they advertise it as being able to remove the streaks of whatever from anywhere. And I go and I do that and it doesn't work. Well, that is false advertising. The product does not do exactly what they say. A movie trailer is specifically put out there just to give you the tone of the movie. It's supposed to give you a kind of a little glimpse, a little window into the idea of what the movie is, what the story is. it's not supposed to directly tell you the exact events that happen in the movie, especially because where do we draw the hard line on this? Movie trailers are always cut in such a way where certain events that may happen later in the movie might happen at the beginning of the trailer. They may flip things. They may have some people talking to other people, and that conversation doesn't happen exactly as it appears in the trailer in the movie. For instance, we use the Infinity War again. There's a scene in the trailer where it sounds like Tony Stark is talking to Gamora about who is this guy, and Gamora said it's Thanos. He can snap his fingers and we'll all be dead or whatever.
Yeah,
that conversation does not happen between those two characters. That's not a conversation. Those two characters, in fact, don't talk at all in the movie. They have no conversation, and so these are the things that trailers do all the time. They always have these kinds of connections where things that appear in the trailer aren't always edited the way they are in the movie. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that comes down to also because sometimes a trailer is cut before the final edit of the movie is done too. For instance, I want to say it was for yesterday where Ana de Armas' scenes were cut because test audiences didn't like that aspect of the movie. And so they went ahead and cut it out after the fact. Because of that reason, she might have already been in the trailers that may have already been cut for audiences to see, but she didn't appear in the movie because she was cut from the movie after the trailer already existed. So there's 1.5 million reasons why movie trailers are cut the way they are. And we just can't apply the same kind of logic of false advertising to a movie trailer that we can to items that we buy for specific reasons and purposes when they don't live up to those reasons and purposes.
Yeah,
that's my thinking on it.
I remember, I think one of the earliest I can remember of this happening was the trailer for Twister back in the 90s. There was a shot in that trailer. It was like the final shot of the trailer of this like tire and other like junk all wrapped together bouncing towards the screen. Like you saw it from the background, like bounce, and then it bounced right towards the camera. That wasn't in the movie. And I remember like, hey, that wasn't in the movie. Because I was very intelligent when I was younger. Very astute, I would say.
When you were younger?
Yeah, shut up. Anyways, so I remember that. And then I remember, I cannot remember what this other show I was watching, but they were talking about like, there's like two people talking over like a radio, and they're like, we've got hell down here, like a war or something. We've got these aliens marching on. We've got lollipops in their mouths. We've got that tire that was in the trailer for Twister, but not in the actual movie. Like they're listing off different things, and they called out that tire, and I was like, oh, okay. So I've known about this as a concept since at least the 90s.
Yeah.
It just happens, and that's why I'm thinking as the way movies are made and advertised, yes, it's usually a completely different company that's cutting together the trailers and not the actual studio themselves. So when they do that, I feel like it is just common sense that there may be stuff in that trailer that's not actually in the movie. And it's a buyer beware type of situation in that. If you are wanting to see that movie only because Ana de Armas is in it, that's maybe not the best reason to watch that movie, because she wasn't even one of the main stars. Like,
yeah, but that's also that exact reason is kind of a that's user choice. I
understand that you want to go see a movie because of the star. Like, if you're a big fan of Tom Cruise, you're going to go see Mission Impossible because it stars Tom Cruise. We went to go see Oppenheimer because we like Christopher Nolan. As long as Christopher Nolan is directing Oppenheimer, I'm happy with it because that's what I'm wanting out of the movie. But if you're wanting to go see a movie just because someone is listed in the cast like 8, 9, 10 names down, and then they don't appear in the movie, that was kind of it's a weird reason to go see the movie, I guess.
It's a choice.
A choice. Yeah. Just it's kind of strange, I guess. I would want to go see it for the main stars, or not just someone in the background who lightly popped up in a trailer.
Either way, this specific case really just sounded like a couple guys trying to get a payday, and it just never worked out for them.
Yeah.
So, ultimately,
Yeah, it was fun to watch it as it was going, but yeah, I urge you, go if you want to know more about it, go watch Matt Pat's video. They did a lot more research and they're a lot more eloquent on how they talk about it than I am right now on the Spot on Live show without anything like scripted or rehearsed or anything. So this is just off the top of my head. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. A couple other news stories before we talk about Dune. So there is that Napoleon movie. What was that? Joaquin Phoenix starring
Napoleon.
as Napoleon, directed by Ridley Scott, and apparently it's going to be 4.5 hours long.
Release the Scott cut. No, that's the director's cut of it. That's the size of the director's cut that Ridley Scott is already thinking about having and whatnot.
Oh,
the
okay.
movie itself, I think, is supposed to be like 3 hours.
2 hours and 38 minutes.
Or 2.5 hours, yeah.
But a 4.5 hour long cut, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm not a big fan of like Lord of the Rings, the medieval fantasy. I've talked about this before. Medieval fantasy, not my bag. I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings, the original 3 Lord of the Rings movies. I thought they were very well made movies. They are entertaining.
Mm-hmm. They're good.
I still have not watched the extended cuts, and I know everyone says that they're so much better, but those movies are like 12 hours a piece, and I don't have that kind of time.
Little bit of an exaggeration. It's like 12 hours total.
Is it though? Is it really?
It's like 12 hours when you add all 3 of them together.
Yeah. So yeah, the only thing I'm less interested. Like, I like reading about history and stuff. I don't need 4.5 hours of Napoleon Bonaparte. Like, just give me a quick like Napoleon movie that would be fun and interesting to watch. Ridley Scott, Joaquin Phoenix, sold. Is Ana de Armas in it? Because I might actually go watch it at that point.
There you go. The way I see this is William Harold brings up, this is why you do a part 1 and part 2. For this exact reason, this is why you do a mini series.
Correct. I was like, who wants to go see Napoleon Part 2? Like, who actually cares about Napoleon Part 1?
There's always this weird war amongst people who are really into film. It's the kind of the nut up or shut up a little bit on the if it's a long movie, you need to suck it up and just enjoy the long movie because that's the art. That's what the director's vision is. And I think, and to a degree, I agree with that. But also I agree, too, that sometimes you can tell your story in 2.5 hours. And if Ridley Scott did a good job telling that story in 2.5 hours, then I'm going to be okay with watching that story in 2.5 hours. It really comes down to, did you make a good movie? Did you make a movie that is intriguing, fascinating, interesting, educating? Any number of the reasons why we watch movies. Did it hit those? Did it check off those boxes? Did it hit that? Because if it didn't hit those, then, then you begin to question, why didn't it hit it? And so in some cases, there's also the 4.5 hour movie that could check off those boxes too. And which case, if the 4.5 hour movie does that and it does it better than the 2.5 hour movie, then cool. That movie should be 4.5 hours. That's where I lay in all of this. Let the movie be what the movie should be in length. If it should be 4.5 hours, let it be 4.5 hours. If it should be 2.5 hours, let it be 2.5 hours. Or in this case, if the studio says we have a good movie at 2.5 hours, Ridley Scott goes, we can make a good movie at 2.5 hours. But he also says, but I think I also have a really good movie at 4.5 hours. Then let Ridley Scott have a director's cut on the side as well. I'm okay with movies having the original theatrical version that all the artists in studio agree is the movie that we want to produce and put out there. But I also love the idea of artists having their unique vision that they can put out there too. Yes, that means letting Zack Snyder have his Snyder cut of Justice League. That might mean David Ayer having a Suicide Squad, cut as well. Notwithstanding all the crazy people on the internet who champion these things like a cult. I'm okay with all of these things, but let's let movies be what they need to be, basically.
So, I mean, that's also like the kind of the same argument as to like why the Obi-Wan Kenobi show wasn't a movie. Why did they draw that out to a TV show when it could have just been condensed to a Star Wars saga like Rogue One or Solo? Just make a movie of it. Or then the flip side to that is Eternals, that should have been a Disney Plus show instead of introducing 20 new characters all in one like 1.5 to 2 hour long movie. So
2.5 hour movie, probably.
Yeah. So, yeah, just we'll see. And then one other thing real quick to piggyback, we talked about this before with the Marvel VFX team looking like they were going to unionize. These strikes are really doing a lot of things helpful for labor, in that now we've got both the actors and the writers striking. Now we've got what's going to happen is what looks like is all of Disney's VFX are going to unionize. What's going to happen from there then is it's going to springboard all the other like facets of movie filmmaking that aren't unionized. They're going to start moving towards getting a union. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to spread outside of filmmaking. That's going to get like a lot of different places where there are no unions to start unionizing. So this is going to be kind of a weird domino effect I feel like we're going to see. But yeah, the point is now it's growing past just the Marvel VFX. We're looking at Disney VFX as a whole, which, I mean, we've heard about like some of the visual effects that they're trying to do for like Star Wars. There's been some, I guess, some issues with some people saying that they've worked long hours, stressed, and they're tired. Then you've got all these other VFX for anything else they're doing. Like I think Pixar had this happen at one time as well. Yeah. I think that's just more of the animators in general, but like they're all going to start coming together. And I think as more and more of them do this, that's going to start flipping the balance of power. Studios in that case specifically just had way too much power. That's why they have like CEOs that are making like billions per year, while your actors, your writers, your production assistants, they're making peanuts. But they're the ones that are right there on the front line making this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I like this because I think it's fascinating. Like you were bringing up, it's fascinating to see how everything is kind of starting to have ripple effects throughout not only just the film industry, but all industries. Specifically the film industry, though. You see these studios, these CEOs, these companies, all lumped into the same group here. Be so worried. I saw a post today. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know if it was a real quote or if people were just making some stuff up, because, you know, people seem to make stuff up on Twitter. But I don't know if, or I saw this quote. It looks like it was talking about Bob Iger and Zaslav over at WB. And they were seemingly concerned that they were being vilified for this entire thing, for this entire situation. Like, why are we being seen as the villains here? Wait, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know if that was like a very cartoonistic way of their viewpoint or standpoint, or if that was something that they might have actually said in passing at some point or another in some form or fashion. But it's hilarious to me, because these guys are out here being so worried about giving what the writers and actors are asking for in these strikes, because of the precedents that it may set, even though what everyone's asking for is such a small, tiny percentage, such a small amount of a studio's total yearly income. Like, it would literally be a sneeze in the paychecks that these CEOs get, and they would probably barely notice, honestly. They really probably wouldn't even notice a difference in their lifestyles if a portion of their paycheck went to everybody else who works for the company. So it's just a small amount. It's just such a small amount. And these CEOs and studios are so worried about giving this to these people who are striking. And it sounds like we've made these jokes, but it sounds like it's literally from if you give a mouse a cookie, they're going to ask for a glass of milk viewpoint. which those of you who know the story, little mouse asks for cookie. If the mouse eats the cookie, he's going to ask for milk. If he asks for milk and you give him milk, he's going to ask for this thing and this thing. And it just snowball effects to more and more until they're asking just a ridiculous amount of things. And it sounds like they're so worried that they're going to cause that snowball effect if they give what writers and actors are asking for right now. The problem is that they don't have to, and milk is already being asked for, but in a good way. Meaning what they're worried about is other parts of the industry unionizing and coming forth and saying, well, now we want a fair cut of what we are owed too. And they're worried about everybody coming forth and asking for a fair cut of what they're owed. What they're not realizing is that this is happening regardless, because everybody sees what the studios and these CEOs are not seeing, which is you're on the losing end. You're going to have to give in to what these striking forces are asking for. And that's just the plain as day, truth of it. Writers and actors are the backbone to making movies. You can't make the movies without them. And if they're not working, you're not making movies. You're not making money. Ultimately, your empire will fall. And now other groups are starting to see that too, which is the visual effects here for Disney. We're going to start seeing visual effects for all studios probably rising up. We're probably going to see editors. We're going to start seeing, all the others. I know directors already got what they were asking for, but you're going to start seeing all these other different groups kind of rising up and unionizing because of this. And then, of course, as we said, it's going to go beyond the film industry too. But yeah, what they're worried about is already going to happen. So just give them what they're asking for so you all can get back to work and make the movies again.
Yeah, so here's hoping that goes through. Again, just this entire time we've been talking about how much we want to support the actors, the writers. Everyone should be paid fairly for what they contribute to a movie. And if a movie's making thousands, if a movie's making millions of dollars, but the writers and the actors are still having to live paycheck to paycheck, there's something wrong with that. And I'm not talking about like the Tom Cruises or the people who are making like signing 50 million contracts, pay or play, whatever. Like, I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about like the actors that we see a lot of times in movies. They are definitely bringing something. That's why they constantly are continuing to get work, but they're not like the big name actors that are necessarily selling a movie, or they sell a movie and then their part gets edited out and then everyone's upset that they don't see that person in that movie. Pretty sure Ana de Armas is now one of those that can probably ask for like 50 million a movie or whatever. But that being said, I'm eager to see how this like spreads outside of just the movie industry, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up like all these other like corporate industries or engineering industries or something like that. They're all going to start having all these unions pop up, and all we're going to hear is everyone like, gee, thanks movie studios, you ruined it for all of us. You just couldn't cut them a fair deal. Now we all have to deal with this. And I think that's going to be hilarious. It's going to be funny to see. So, that being said, Dune 2 was delayed. It was inevitable. That is the title of this episode of Tagline.
It didn't have to be, though. It didn't have to be inevitable.
So, I mean, obviously, there's two reasons why this was pushed back. One, again, you don't have the actors able to promote the movie.
And you want to have Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet promoting your movie.
Yeah, it would be nice to go see like all these other videos that we see on like YouTube of the actors doing the marketing circuit or whatever. They're sitting there with Perry Nemiroff while she's quizzing them about like what mall stores do you know of from back in the 80s. I think that particular episode was actually Emma Fyffe, who was interviewing the kids and Ice Cube from the Ninja Turtles movie. I'm guessing filmed before the strike, so they were able to promote it. But yeah, it like little fun stuff like that we're not going to get the actor is able to do it unless it's for like non-struck work or non like AMPTP studios. So we're still going to see, like, for example, Neon, I believe, is doing this Ferrari movie starring Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Come join us for trivia after tonight to see how quickly you could get the actor's name who plays Kylo Ren. It's Adam Driver, but let's see how quickly you could get it. But yeah, like that's Neon. Neon's an independent studio that produces its own films. It's not going through an AMPTP studio. So they're still free to work and write and act in those movies. A24, same thing. So like Talk to Me was a non-union or non-studio made movie. So all the actors were able to go talk about Talk to Me. So
yeah. Yeah, A24, Neon, they all are smaller. I mean, yeah, this whole thing with Dune 2 getting delayed is kind of goofy to me. Because they didn't have to delay it. And of course, the other reason for why it's being delayed is, of course, you got to make your quarterly budgets, and you got to make sure you have movies in those quarters so that you make the money during that quarter. That's what all businesses do. They got to spread out and make sure they're getting every quarter they're making the money they're supposed to so that they can stay afloat, or their version of staying afloat, I guess.
Or so that investors will reinvest money back into the studio to make further movies.
Yeah. And so Dune 2 not coming out at the end of this year is because I believe that's also Warner Brothers, right? Dune 2?
Yes.
Is because Warner Brothers has made enough money this year, Barbie. They don't need to make any other money this year. They're good outside of what other movies they aren't pushing back, of course. So they'll go ahead and release those still. But Dune 2 is going to be a big money maker for them. And so they want to make sure that because right now there's a slowdown on movies because they can't make any without actors and writers. They need to make sure, of course, that there is a movie in places where they are not going to be able to release a movie because production is halted. So that's probably the main reason why they're pushing back Dune 2. Is so that they can actually have movies filling in the gaps.
So Legendary has a hand in this. Okay. I mean, probably for the same reason. I'm pretty sure Legendary is probably getting advised by Warner Brothers as well as to what they can and can't do. And of course, Warner Brothers, yeah, kind of like what you said. Barbie's really successful. We don't care about the rest of this year. If we need to move it to March. And look at like how stacked March is next year. There's a lot of movies. Like almost every week, there's a pretty decently named movie coming out in March. Which again, if you look at it, March is the end of the 3 months, so that's the end of the quarter. They are trying to pump out these movies at the last minute to get them within that quarter. So when they speak about their financials, they are showing some kind of a return for it. So here's hoping.
Yeah.
I'm also going to call it. I'm willing to bet that Aquaman movie is going to be canceled. Not delayed. It's going to get Batgirled.
Who knows? So Dune 2 is produced by Legendary, distributed by Warner Brothers.
Legendary moved Godzilla versus Kong also.
The next one,
yeah.
Yep.
And then wasn't there also that Luca Guadagnino movie Challengers with Zendaya that also I think got pushed or delayed. So Zendaya doesn't have any movies coming out anytime soon.
Zendaya gets to kick back and just take a vacation right now.
Yeah, seriously. And she deserves it. All that work on that HBO show. Sometime tonight.
Yeah, there you go. Aquaman tax write-off, exactly.
What is the name of that show? Euphoria.
There
we go.
We're not doing TV show trivia, so you can't challenge us on that.
No. But yeah, I think that's probably the main reason is that they need to push it for their finances to show something. Because right now, studios are was it there a report that they were hiring like an emergency PR firm to quickly come in and handle like damage control type of stuff?
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, there was some kind of like studios were hiring some kind of PR firm that's really good at just fixing issues and getting stuff back on track.
PR firm recommends that you pay your writers and actors fairly.
Yeah, that would be the funniest thing if they were hiring a PR firm. Like, yeah, so what do you recommend to help us out? We would recommend you just pay your writers and actors fairly. Like,
Hi,
that seems like it's right there. I mean, that seems like that's all you have to do, and everyone gets back to work.
welcome. We're the public relations department that you guys hired, the company you hired for this. First, before we get started here, we would like to speak with your accounting department and find out, kind of just general. We don't need specifics, but just kind of generally where money is being shifted around in the company.
Yeah.
Okay, we talked to them. Cool. We've determined based on the information that we've gotten from your accounting department, you need to pay your people fairly. That's how you solve your bad image right now.
You owe us $50 million for our services. Money, please.
You didn't need to do that. You could have just made the deal to begin with.
But no, you called us up and we're giving you the advice and we're helping you. Here's our advice and what we recommend. And now you pay us too.
It really does feel like it just feels like pride at this point. It really does. I understand there's logistics to running businesses, and then there's logistics to running businesses at that scale. And that's like some of the biggest scaled businesses in the world is movie studios. I get it. I understand there's a whole lot that I don't understand about how to run a business at that level. But at some point, I feel like the answer really is just simple.
Every business, there is some fundamentals to how that business works. They are constants. No matter what other variables you change, there will always be constants. Like one of my favorites is keep your employees happy. If your employees are happy, your productivity is going to increase. If you're pissing off your employees, you're not going to get good work out of them. Like, no matter what else you change, that is one major constant. And that's one that fits in this particular situation here. They're not happy. You're not going to get anything. Make them happy. You will get some good work and everyone can go back to work and making money and producing again. So.
Yep. And as far as Aquaman goes, my opinion is at this point, if they're going to release it, they should just dump it on I was going to say HBO Max, but Max. Just promote it for 2 months. Start promoting it in October. Release it on Max. The realistic me, the cinema loving me, the film loving me would say, "Oh no, we should experience these movies in a theater as much as possible." And I do believe that's true. But the other side of this is they probably should just throw it on Max and just call it a day. See if it draws any more subscribers for that service and then wash their hands and move on.
Because let's be honest.
That's what they should have done with
not
Batgirl.
Really going to do any better than any other DC movies that have been released this year.
Yeah, I really feel like they should have done that with Batgirl too. They should have just released Batgirl on Max, if nothing else. Just put it out there and let people decide whether or not they want to watch it and whether or not they like it and enjoy it and whether or not they want to watch it again. Yeah.
There's going to be people that do enjoy and like that movie, no matter how bad it is. For example, I actually kind of somewhat like that Dukes of Hazzard movie from like long time ago with Sean William Scott and Johnny Knoxville. I think it was kind of fun.
Okay, on that note, guys, we're going to end tonight. Where's the intro? All right, here we go.
Anyways, we still have to promote stuff. We can't just end it there. So
I wanted to so badly.
I really like what was that one movie called where it had like all the stars in it and they were all doing like little sketches? Oh yeah, I really like movie 40. Anyways, yeah, that was anyways, enough of that joke. In short, just pay your people. That's it. I feel like we're beating a dead horse or Batgirl didn't put babies in microwaves. No. like 90% sure.
That's a real thing. They didn't flash. I know we got to promote stuff, but I legitimately remember sitting in the theater while watching Flash going, I can't believe what I'm looking at right now. This is really a scene that is in this movie. Oh, people are going to be talking about this later. Absolutely.
Yep. Sure enough. Anyways. All right, so let's wrap this up. Again, stuff that is coming out pretty soon. Trivia Hangout tonight. If you want to be a part of trivia, if you want to come hang out and answer some movie questions, we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. That is going to be here in about 40 minutes or so over on our Discord. Just sign up on our Patreon at the $5 tier. $5 a month. You get to join us for a movie watch along and for the trivia. Speaking of which, movie watch along will be next Wednesday. Again, September is going to be a busy month. I forgot to mention this at the top of the show, but September is going to be a busy month. So next Wednesday is the movie watch along. I'm thinking of something still within the theme of musicals, like our marquee. So I'm contemplating whether or not I want to do either Sweeney Todd or Yesterday, and let's hope Ana de Armas is in it. I'm actually thinking one of those two. It's just a matter of if they're streaming. And I know like a lot of streamers, they change like their content on the first of the month. So we might have to wait a couple of days to see if those are going to be available for us to watch and stream. So that's where I'm trying to shoot for. I will, as soon as we get an official decision, I will pump that out on like the Discord and probably drop it in the Patreon post as well. So that either way, we're doing a movie watch along next Wednesday after Tagline. So sign up at the $5 tier if you want to be a part of that as well. Movie trivia is tonight here in a little bit. Then also, I'll probably have a review for Equalizer 3 tomorrow. I will probably do a ranking of the 3 Equalizer movies. I'll put that out on the YouTube Shorts, probably up on the IG like I did with the Terminator ranking yesterday. So go check that out if you haven't seen that Terminator ranking yet. I feel like it's a pretty solid rank. I'm actually quite happy with where I'm ranking things. I think a lot of people might agree with it. And then also I did the reaction to Five Nights at Freddy's earlier. So
I was really trying to figure out where Malcolm was going with that, but I actually understood because of the 2 movies you brought up for us for the watch along
yesterday, and
all my troubles seem so far away, but then I mutilated my troubles and made them into pies.
Yeah, you said that, and I read that, and for some weird reason, my first thought was American Pie, when he's stooping that apple pie in the kitchen.
I mean, you could probably classify that as mutilating a pie.
I mean, it was, because they show the pie afterwards, and it's mutilated. So, anyways.
Interesting.
William Harold's got it right on the nose. Terminator rankings, 2 and 1. Nothing else really matters.
1. Wherever the hell you want to put everything else, Genesis.
As long as Genesis is at the end, that's where Genesis has to go.
Terminator 2, Terminator 1, all the other stuff, Terminator Genesis.
And there was a comment. I got a comment on there like, did you mispronounce it? Yes, I did, on purpose. That movie is so bad it doesn't deserve to have its name properly pronounced.
Genesis.
That's what happens when you make a bad movie. You lose your rights to anyone addressing it fairly.
I'll be honest, I still haven't seen that one. I've seen all the rest of them, but I haven't seen that one.
You're not missing much. If you want just a quick way to watch that movie without actually having to sit through that movie, I want you to spend 30 minutes with like a Brillo pad, rub your forehead with it, and then after you're done, go find the nearest wall and bash your head into that wall.
You know what would be funny?
Much faster.
I just thought of this. We should do a marquee at some point with a marquee that is like 15 movies that are all just generally everyone agrees are not good. Most people agree. Obviously, not everyone's always going to agree, but most people seem to have the understanding that this movie, not great. Because that's going to be the only way I end up being forced to watch that movie at this point. I'm not just going to throw it on for fun.
So what we'll have to do is, because for the most part, it's not necessarily good to just judge a movie. I mean, I'm going to give all this crap to Genesis and the complete disrespect of its title and whatnot. That's fine. That movie disrespected my common sense. But at the end of the day, there are still people who worked on that movie, who cared about the movies, people who were trying to make a good movie, and the movie just fell flat. And I'm not trying to discredit them. Those people had like blood, heart, and soul into making a movie.
Sure.
And I haven't made a movie, so I have no position to comment on that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of like, hey, let's just badmouth a bunch of movies. That would need to be something we need to find like the top like 15 on like the bottom of Rotten Tomatoes and rank those. But yeah, that's the idea. S tier of bad movies.
What's the S tier bad movies? The Room.
The Room is an S tier bad movie. Absolutely, 100%. So there's your insight already. We're already going to be ranking The Room as S tier.
Now, I actually really kind of dig Salvation still. It's not the best of the Terminators at all, but it did something that I've been wanting the Terminator movies to do for so long, which is give us the war.
It's just, why is this so boring?
I'm tired of all this like talking about getting to the war. I actually want to see the war. I actually want to get into the war. And could Salvation have done that a little bit more and a little bit better? Sure, but it did it. It did it more than I think really any of the other movies have done. The other movies have just kind of given you glimpses into the future, but they've never really spent like the actual time that Salvation did. That's why I like Salvation.
Oh, Tim Franco with that Troll 2 recommendation also. That Troll 2 is going to be a fun one to have to for. I haven't even watched that yet. All I've seen is just that one clip that everyone's familiar with. Oh no, they're eating her. And then they're going to eat me.
Oh no.
Oh no. It's so bad.
I think I got everybody hyped up for a marquee that we haven't actually planned yet.
We haven't even thought, all right. So at some point we'll do this marquee because this sounds like it's going to be phenomenal and I'm going to hate it.
It's going to be 15 movies that I actually have to watch because I've not seen any of them and haven't planned on watching any of them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyways.
That's coming next year, I'm sure, at some point.
That will be coming up at some point. Yes, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Look for it potentially in 2024 at the earliest.
By the way, also, people, feel free to @ me on Twitter at this. I still do not have a solid list of what I want to tier rank for October. So I am open to any suggestions as far as what movies, and we don't necessarily have to tier rank movies. I'm kind of thinking I would like to go maybe something more fun. Let's just tier rank like horror movie villains, killers. So like Freddy, Jason, Michael, Chucky, just put them all on a tier list with like a couple other outliers that people may not necessarily know. I have watched Bad Taste, and yes, that movie it's bad. But yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning towards that. Let's just do horror like antagonists. But yeah, if y'all have any other suggestions, I am open to it. So yeah. And I feel like I've got Lego on board there. The horror villains, yeah. Oh, and Brain Dead or Dead Alive, depending on what country you're watching it in. But yeah, that is all coming up. So yeah, lots of stuff going on. Make sure you follow, subscribe. If you're watching this on a replay, thank you for watching it. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Follow us for everything we do. You can follow us at the Cinefanatics on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me personally at Robert Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, also youtube.com/@RobertAdamsMLP.
You can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP.
Anyways, that is going to do it for tonight. Yes, Lego. Yes, I like this as well.
That's a good choice too.
I think I honestly think Lego solved my problems. I think that's 2 solid marquees we could possibly do in October if I have the time for 2 marquees, but we'll see. I will plan that out, and I will very likely probably reach out to Lego for for being on those as well. So anyways, that is going to do it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here live as we're performing for your entertainment. Again, come over and hang out. Let's do some trivia. This is gonna be a lot of fun. Hop on that Patreon, just $5, $5, and you can do some trivia. It's gonna be a good time.
Forgo the Subway footlong that isn't actually a foot long, and come join our Patreon for at least a month.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a foot long of movie trivia, or however that's actually quantified. I'm not sure, but we'll see. And now my brother's got an image in his head that he's going to have to go like mentally floss.
I need you to never watch movie 43 ever again.
Anyways, thank y'all for watching. We will see some of y'all here in the Discord in a little bit. Otherwise, we will see y'all in the next video. Good night, goodbye, later. Super weird. Just, I don't know.
Laters?
Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to be funny. Get off me.